What are the top issues facing the boards? For third, right now the top issue is working the dry rot program. It sort of reminds me of back in 2007 and 8 when all of a sudden we had the president of Third Mutual at that time, Mark Snyder, said we are having Niagara Falls from our walls. And it was that time when we had the copper pipe program, and especially folks in the 3-story buildings. Sometimes they'd get it fixed and all of a sudden another leak would break out someplace else, so we got this epoxy program going. And we've spent millions of dollars on that, and we're just sort of winding down with that program right now. So it's been 10 years in the work. And so that's been a very big deal. And so a few years ago, we found out that we have a dry rot program, and so now we're getting real serious about that. It's primarily with 3-story buildings. When they open up the ends of these buildings, especially on LH21, they have this parapet on the end and this somewhat of an enclosure on the stairs going up, and when they open up that, they see a lot of dry rot in these main structural beams that support that enclosure. And so it's going to be it's a couple $1 million this year, maybe a couple $1 million next year. And so also we're having trouble with some of the sewer lines, which one might expect with a community this old as we are. And so that's essentially the main thing. We're doing some work with energy. Bert Moldo, the chairman, is not chairman anymore, but I've taken that over. But he came in with a gentleman named Steve Leonard, I think was Steve's last name. And they started working with these LED bulb lights and had expanded that considerably to other things, signs and emergency exit signs and inside the rooms and so forth. And so that has turned out to be a huge savings, but it's taking a lot of work. Also, we've allowed residents to install solar cells on top of their roofs, and some of them have worked out real well, and I just talked to a couple of neighbors and it's not working out for them. So Jim Tung and I are going to take a look at that and see what the problem there is, because we're starting to look at putting some solar cells on the roof of a 3-story building. So we're doing some research on that. So that's essentially the issue there. The relationship between the boards and BMSI. When the boards decided to remove PCM, they had to be replaced by another corporation that would all of the ex-PCM employees would be located in. And so that turned out to be a pretty tough activity, but it is done. And we have a new corporation called Village Management Services, Inc. has taken the place of PCM. And you might remember Donnie Disbrow was the president of PCM, and they had a place over here in a nearby town. And he'd sit over there. He's the president of the corporate PCM. He'd sit over there, and when there was a problem, he'd come over. We hardly ever saw him because we were able to take care of things with staff ourselves without getting him involved. But anyway, with the new corporation, Brad Hudson is here. We've recently hired him, and he's working out tremendously well. He's doing a lot of changes to make our activities much more efficient, saving good money for us. And so I'm personally real pleased with Brad. And let's see, as far as the, when we decided to form this new corporation to replace PCM, there was some people that a number of people had different ideas on how that should happen, and during the process, that turned out to be a very difficult activity, but it finally got done, and there were some people that had a lot of hurt feelings, and also, but it was a real tough time. After that happened, well, during the time of that, we filed the articles of incorporation with the state for VMSI, worked out the bylaws, a management agreement. In the management agreement, we were, after going through everything to get rid of PCM and bring on, start this new corporation, in the management agreement, there was, I'll say, a lack of very specific information on what exactly the role of the directors for this board actually is. And so, and the reason we did that, we were somewhat exhausted from going through this whole process, and but at least everything was set up and there was a management agreement. Well, a month or so ago, Lenny Ross and Lenny called the president's meeting, and the folks at that meeting talked about some specific things that we need to put in the management agreement. There will be another president's meeting shortly, and we're going to finalize that and go to our various boards and get approval to insert the specific tasks in the management agreement. The basic role for the board of directors on this new corporation is to make sure that all these ex-PCM employees and new people that have been brought on are satisfying the needs of the Third, United, Mutual 50, and GRF, the boards. And so when there's a problem, then we go to to our general manager, or go to some of the directors get involved in working out the problem with staff or whatever the issue is.